What's up, everybody? We're back. We're hitting it off here, talking well-being again.
Is it though, or is it the opposite of
the
well-being?
opposite? The how badly well-being do we are? I don't know. Okay, I gotta ask you a funny question because it keeps coming up on my news feed because I think I clicked on it once. What do you think of Elon Musk's dad having a kid with his stepdaughter?
Yeah,
70. He's 73 and she's like 38 or something. And like so he married this girl who already had this daughter, and then he had 2 kids with her.
Yeah.
And then goes and has a kid with his stepdaughter. And it's creepy.
It's just, yeah. I mean, I
guess it's like not like, I mean, there's no like, I don't think there's no legal thing with it, but it's just
as has been said, does something being legal make it
right?
Yeah. And should everything that's wrong be illegal? That's the tough,
I was just reading the comments on these articles, and it's just like the super rich and elite are super messed up and yada, yada, yada. So then I click on that, and I don't know if this is clickbait because I haven't clicked on this one. But DNA says 5 strangers were all fathered by this pro wrestler, and that pro wrestler is The Rock's dad.
Oh, by Rocky Johnson. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
So,
like, I wouldn't doubt it. Like, they
all have like the similar DNA or something like that. I haven't read the article because I'm like, I don't know if this is just clickbait or what this is, but it's, yeah, like fame does something to people, man. Holy.
No, I disagree.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. I agree
to some people,
but I disagree in that I think lots of normal people are screwed up, but you don't have the outlet to indulge it. That's the, you know what I mean? Like it's well, that's what it is. It's just like,
but do you think like the
fame
average
and fortune
person is messed up?
Can be, but I mean the fame and fortune just turns up whatever's wrong with you to like 11, right?
I'm just trying to think, like, if I had like no repercussions, like do whatever you want.
Like what? But it would be, there'd be something about your personality that gets amplified to an extreme. Like,
think what that would.
Well, think about it. Think about whether it's, like it could be anything, and it may be for good or it may be for evil. Like it may be for not, I mean, it may, but it'll be something. There's something. Like if I just gave you, I'm going to give you $50 million from now until you die every year.
50 to me is okay.
50 million every year till you die. And also you have like an entourage that are just obsessed with like keeping you happy. What would you end up doing? There'd be something.
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
There'd be something. I mean, and what it is, everybody has to ask themselves that question. But
see, I'd want to do like crazy things, but it would all be like let's go scuba diving, let's go skydiving, let's go do.
But then it'll be more. But then it would just be more. And
I want more people to have fun with me, kind of thing.
Yeah, but
it'd be like, I don't know, like I just don't want to get why it has like
why does there have to be a sickness?
Creepy.
Because it'll be creepy. Not creepy. It won't have to be, but it's just like, okay, if you're doing like extreme shit, right? It'll just go. See, you'd be like, I want to go skydiving, right? So then you call me and you call like 10 of your buddies and you're like, hey, let's go skydiving on Saturday. I'd be like, nah, all right, because it's free and I want to be a good friend, right?
Yeah, get you up in the air and be like, all right, guys, guess what? No parachutes.
Well, it's just like whatever. So then you push aside the airplane. Then it's like skydiving. I'm just swearing. I'm like, fuck Bryce, like all the way down. And then next weekend or Monday, you're like, bro, skydiving. And I just like, no, I'm doing it again, right? You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, fine. Let's do rock climbing. Okay, fine. So you pick me up. We go to like you pick me up in a helicopter. That's cool. Go to rock climbing. Then I'm like, then on Tuesday, you're like, rock climbing again? I'm like, no, fuck, man. I'm not doing that again. So it's just like, but you see, and then what would happen is you'd have these like 10 people. Then you'd have 8, 6, 5, 4,
until you're
0.
Until you're down to the
until you're down to until you're down to 0. And then you'd say like, fuck, like, okay, let's do let's do like a high orbit dive.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Right? So then they put you in the fucking spacesuit and then I jump, you know what I mean?
Nick, you in?
Right. But no one would do it. So it would just be you. Then it would be like, hey, like, let's do, you know what I mean? And then eventually, like, it would just get out of control, right? Because there'd be nobody to like, there'd be no like reality to
like nothing's not undoable.
Yeah. Because even the coolest guy, I mean, I've never met him, but it's just like the nicest guy in Hollywood, Keanu Reeves, right? He still started a motorcycle company.
But I feel like that's pretty normal.
But it's still his obsession.
It's an obsession, a passion, but it's like a normal, like healthy.
But it's also, but it's a normal, healthy because he's, well, I mean, again, not normal, but it's like, but it's proportionate to like how crazy he gets in terms of like how celebrity he is. Like, so he rides the subway. He buys people dinner. And
it's just,
only has
his passion.
Yeah. Like Porsche did a really cool article about him. Mm-hmm. This was years ago. It's now getting on because it was a 999. It was a 2015 Porsche. So Porsche 911. So it was like so that would have been 7 years ago. You know, he only has one car.
Yeah.
That Porsche built for him, right? Like so you would think if you're like, I'm into, like, he's obviously into he's a guy, he's into mechanical things. Well, you wouldn't just have one car, you'd have 50, right? But he's like really dialed in.
Yeah.
So he only has one. So, okay, he built so he started a motorcycle company. But if you weren't dialed in, if you were just, and also more importantly too, if you were like, this happens to lotto winners a lot. Like, if you don't know what it took to attain what you received.
Yeah.
Right?
So that stuff I get.
Like that's the center of Justin Trudeau's problems. Like,
right.
Is that he's never needed to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like he's got
he's disconnected
from
what
reality.
The real value is of money and stuff.
So as a celebrity, you would be if you get disconnected, like you start to like believe your own hype, right? And then so you become crazy. And then that's where you get it's like, why would Arnold Schwarzenegger bang his quite sorry ugly maid? Like, what?
You ever see
what he's married to?
You ever see the Bill Burr comedy when he talks about like how normal people don't understand the level? Like, it's kind of what we're talking about, really. But just with Arnold, he's like, okay, here's a guy who's come from Austria. He's like, I'm gonna get famous lifting weights.
Yeah.
And the Austrians were all like, no fucking way. What's he do? Goes and does it, right? And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go acting. It's like, you can't even speak English.
Yeah.
You go, what does he do? Goes out and does it. And he's like, I'm going to marry Kennedy. No fucking way. It goes up and marries a Kennedy. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to become a governor of a state that I can't even pronounce. It's like, bam, does it.
Yeah.
It's like, then what does he say? Oh, he says, so banging the maid in the closet, that's a layup for this guy. Yeah. He's been on a pure winning streak for the last 4 decades. And then that's what topples him. It's, I guess like, I mean, normal people, I guess like we would never really understand like unless we really got there, but the level of,
you know, and for guys too, like for men, it's different too, because we're so lizard brain. Like we're just so, we're just so driven by that when it's, that's the number one thing is like, when people are, how could he cheat? Why would you cheat on like
that?
Name whatever, name whoever, movie star or act, whatever, model, supermodel. It's because it's there. Like that's the only way you can avoid it is to not put yourself in those situations.
Yeah,
you'll crack. Like a guy will crack.
So bizarre to me that you can crack into that because like I feel like if you're really like conscious, if you have to be like so self-aware, and just be like, all right, I'm not.
But even because I was into pro wrestling, the wrestlers would say it all the time. They'd be like, you don't understand. And the rock stars would say it too.
Yeah,
they're like, you don't understand. Like, you're on the road for 200 days, and it's like 50 women a day.
Yeah,
will like
throw
themselves at you, like 50, 20, 30, 50, 100, like. Every day for 200 days straight. It's like, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You're just not going to make it. The guys who make it are just like
Well, I look at
run
guys like
run out of the arena into your tour bus, tell them to floor, like just go,
punch it,
just punch it, you know, get the fuck out of here. Like that's. But as soon as you start hanging around, getting bored.
I read a really cool article about Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and just how their relationship is, and I was like, man, like I feel like that's how I would be if the stardom really hit. Is like just chill.
But even he had to demolish a couple of he had to dump cheat on Alanis Morissette. You know, like
now is that like just early, like growing up,
could be
young,
could very well be.
You know, like I mean,
I'm Ryan Reynolds. I'm dating Alanis Morissette,
and I'm
awesome, great. And then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, it's just not what you were actually looking for. I mean, potentially, you know. But even happy men with happy wives, or happy lives, you know, they have there's a path of destruction behind them. Still, it's true. You need to just you don't get there without any damage.
Oh, I gotta think about my path.
Well, I mean,
how much destruction is on that?
But you don't, right? It's the male condition.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't see women doing it very often, anyway.
Yeah,
like it's
fair
usually it's usually pretty. They're a little more tamer, I guess, a little more civilized. Anyway, I went and did iFly in Calgary on Saturday with the kid and my wife. We went and did the skydiving
simulator,
like the tunnel.
Yeah,
and it was fun. It was awesome.
So is it too wind? I always feel like it'd be like too windy.
No, actually, it was not bad at all.
No,
like what's crazy is like you stand at the door and you lay forward, and then it just picks you up.
You're just up.
Yeah. Like it's, I mean, there's a guy there that's guiding you, but like it just picks you up. And then like when you watch the video, like you don't really feel him at all. Like when you're in the tunnel with him, but like he's like just grabbing your pant leg, making sure you don't smash into the wall, but you're just like up. And yeah, it was awesome. Like we got video of it and everything like that. Katana had a riot. Like she's just, and it's so funny because it's like they're like, dial this like way back, like 50-pound little girl, just dial this thing way back, right? And she's just like, up she goes, and she's so flexible. Like her legs are like, her feet are like kicking herself in the back of the head. She's just bent back. It's like, it was awesome. But she had a riot. My wife had a riot as well. It was a lot of fun, and we just we're like, you know what? Let's just go try it out. Let's go see what this is all about and whatnot. So left at like 6 a.m, drove to Calgary. We're supposed to be there 45 minutes before our flight. And then, went and jumped in. Took us like an hour to do it. And then we're like, all right, well, it was supposed to take till 1. And we were like done like an hour. So like, oh, okay, well, I guess let's go do something else. So we decided to head over to Drumheller, and it was a zoo.
Yeah.
Holy man.
Yeah, you're in the middle of summer.
Guess who I ran into?
Who?
At a burger shack in Drumheller.
Who?
Nick Browett. Home theater. Big tall guy. Nick. No? Ah, man. It's so good to see him. I always thought he's a cool cat.
If I saw a picture, I bet you I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. He was a home theater guy. We won Achievers when we were at Best Buy together, went to Orlando together and stuff like that. And he's just a cool cat. Like he's a really down to earth guy. I've always thought he was a neat fella to hang out with. And he's been here actually once and took a look at the place and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool guy. But anyway, just ran into him. I was like, hey. I was like, hey, what's going on? He's a big golfer, so he wanted to golf the golf course at the Badlands there.
Oh yeah.
And then he was just hanging out at one of the breweries, and it's like a brewery, and having some drinks, but they didn't sell food, so he swung over to the burger shack, and here we are. So it was pretty funny to run into him, but couldn't believe how busy it was. So then we went to Rowley. So we were like, all right, forget that. So we took the road, kept going, went to the ferry, crossed the river on the ferry, and then we went up to Rowley, the ghost town.
Yep. And
that was kind of neat. You know, it's kind of just have a neat little story, neat little middle of nowhere kind of thing. So
yeah.
Kind of neat.
There's some cool stuff southern Alberta.
There is, man. Like, southeast.
Yeah.
We decided to do that this weekend because in 2 weeks, we're going the other way. So we were like, we could have done the mountain drive. We're like, no, we're going to do that in a couple weeks. Let's go this way. So went and checked that out.
Yeah. A lot of times the southeast drive is nicer. There's less traffic.
way less. Like we were on a couple roads where we
Just
didn't see
ripping
trucks
and
like we didn't see vehicles for a while.
Because getting to getting to Banff for Jasper sometimes it's a tough go.
It is. Yeah.
Especially now with the mountain expansion.
Oh,
the
right,
pipeline expansion going that way. It's like it's pretty heavy
is
construction.
a lot of that along the highway?
Yeah, so a lot
really?
so like last time I drove to Vancouver, it was like you drive 70 kilometers an hour for 2 to 5 minutes, and then you'd sit for 2 to 5 minutes.
I hate those.
And then you drive 70 because they were like switching the traffic.
lanes.
Oh man, it was just like.
See, the one thing I noticed about Europe when I was in Europe, they don't shut the road down. They build another road off to the side, so the traffic's always going. Then they do the work they need to do.
I don't get like
it's crazy.
Literally right by this is gonna get into fucking Edmonton again, but right by my house in my neighborhood, they've had to pave. They had to repave. It's a section of 2 blocks going around the school, like around the park.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the school that's sold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay,
So there's like this section, right?
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks. And all they've been doing is fucking around. Like, you go to leave your neighborhood, and it's like there's this giant machine there, and they're like holding everybody up, and then they grind it down. So there's a 3-inch drop,
and it's a heavy drop,
and they didn't make it nice.
No, it's like a kaboom.
It's just like, and then there's a heavy drop when you like leave.
Yeah.
I mean, a heavy like a
ka-clunk,
like
ka-clunk.
So it's just like what? And then you watch these videos in Europe and Japan. They like move a mountain out of the way, or they like pick up a bridge and toss it, and then put a new bridge in.
And that's like so fast.
And it's like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's a 24-hour. And like you said, it's like they just don't
stop.
They go.
Yeah.
Oh, we're building this thing. We build a new road, so the traffic keeps going. We build it in 24 hours, and then we do the work, and then we dismantle that road. Like, what's the procurement like process? How do they find the most expensive and the worst at the same time? It's just like what? And then it's like 3:00 on a Tuesday, and there's just nobody there.
That's what drives me the nuts.
So it's like, how can that be?
Yeah, that's what drives me nuts. When I've gone in our neighborhood here, the amount of construction.
Yeah,
you're just like, it's like 3-4 days. The road's all blocked off. Everything's all shut down. There's no holes.
Yeah.
Like I can go walk on it and like there's no holes. Like you can drive a car on this.
Yeah.
But it's all shut down. And you're going, and there's no one around.
Yeah.
And you're going, what is happening?
Yeah,
right
like
now?
it's just like there's just pylons, and they're just like
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been driving on the Henday?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So on the west side here, there's because they've got like those little tag things on the ground to guide you, right? But then there's still lines on the road too. The amount of times I've driven that road where I've almost been pulled into
because the guy just stays. They watch the lines.
Watches the lines and not the tags.
Yeah.
And then also there's one up there, and it divides it into 2 for some reason. Where you're going down the Henday, but all of a sudden there's like construction in the middle of the road.
Oh,
and so it divides you into 2. But that freaking thing just comes, like the divider comes out of nowhere. And so you come along the road.
Yeah.
And I get it if you've driven it a few times, but if you haven't driven it that many times. So I'm coming on my dude, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, how is this dividing us? And then all of a sudden, fucking boom, pylons right there. You're like, whoa. And you got to pick a lane.
Yeah.
And you just go. And it's just the way that it's laid out is not very well, like, just not very well labeled.
Yeah.
Right? For like, this is what this is, and this is where you need to go. It's not very well done. No. So, but that just seems to be like the plague of the city and the plague of, and it's this weird, like, again, the closer and closer you get to Calgary, the road,
the better it gets.
Nicer.
I know.
There's
and I mean,
less...
I get like, I will not skirt around the fact that like their weather is better.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like, it is just
enough.
Generally like maybe slightly, but at the same time, it is like better, right? Like they do have better weather. The mountain range helps. They get the Chinooks, whatever. But it's like, they build a ring road and it's 5 lanes wide, 6 lanes wide. like even if it takes longer to complete the full loop,
Yeah.
it took them longer to like put it together, but it's just done properly.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, so it's like how does
ours has like lights on it in some spots at the beginning.
Oh
man.
yeah,
You're going
like they like had
"Whoa,
intersections, and
what?"
then all of a sudden they're like good news, and it's like 2 lanes, and then it's like 3, like on the south and southwest side, it's like 3 lanes, but then this 1 lane is the only way to get on the white mud, so that lane doesn't count because people are actually going to be in that lane and like have to like pile into the 2 lanes, and then it's just like, you know, then now they're like good news, we're expanding it, and you're like, why didn't it just
Start that way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's just no.
Because now it's just never ending construction. It's
Yeah.
just going to be more construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just because like some moron wanted it to be done while he was there or something, like, you know, it's like, yeah.
It's definitely never perfect.
It like nothing at that point. It's like, let's go straight libertarian capitalist. It's like at that point, it's like, you know what? I'm okay spending $5 a day to use the road.
Yeah.
Have a toll.
Yeah.
Like I want friggin' lead, you know what I mean? Like at one point, Map Construction or Leadcore, those guys were just like, you know what? Fuck it. We own the road. Screw it. We're going to buy it. We're going to pay it. And we're going to build it. And then you guys can pay us to use it.
Can
You
you
know?
imagine the uproar if tolls got put in?
Yeah.
Is there any road in Canada?
No.
Canada?
No. There
There's
was, well, remember
no-
Coquihalla used to be a
I
toll
thought
road.
There was a toll, yeah.
Coquihalla was, and how beautiful it was. And then it was like, pfft. They're like,
Right.
oh, no more toll. It's like, oh, look, no more money. You know?
Yeah.
But it's like
crazy.
toll, but it's got to be private.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember like driving through like Oklahoma and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, you're at a toll.
Yeah.
freaking
But it's because like business, like, you know, it's like, it's capitalism. Like business people are like, you know what? This road effing sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to build my own.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the government and say, hey, I'm putting in this however hundreds of millions. I'm building this road. Do you have a grant or something? Yeah, you'll get a little bit of money from them. So the taxpayers kind of do pay for some of it.
Yeah.
But then toll, you know?
Yeah.
Europe, everywhere.
That's true too.
But that's why their roads are beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they do a lot of shit wrong, but they do.
A lot of it
Toll
right.
roads are unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, let the market, you know, and then that'll decide. It's like, if somebody builds a road that nobody uses, you go out of business.
That's true.
You got to build good roads.
Yeah.
Keep them in good shape.
It's business, baby.
Yeah, it's just business. Like,
What else is happening? Pope's coming.
yeah, the city's gonna get fucking shut down. They're gonna like,
Oh man.
yeah. I mean, what do you even say?
What do they think? 75,000 people?
Oh,
at,
Commonwealth is gonna be
Commonwealth?
like, it's every seat. It's
Be as
jammed.
far as humanly
Yeah.
possible, away
Yeah.
from it as humanly possible.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere near down. Don't go anywhere. Well, even QE2,
Yeah.
because they have to secure it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because he must be landing in Edmonton.
Yeah, it's landing at the airport.
Oh man.
They said there's gonna have
Like motorcade.
yeah,
It'll
and they're
be-
gonna have like on tall buildings. They're gonna have like spotters.
Well, like I was thinking about that where I was talking about this morning. Just think of like the amount of people that have been here probably for the last like 4, 5, 6 weeks that have just been scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just don't know.
Yeah,
Like they're
Yeah.
just that's a rooftop. This is this
Yeah,
is what the
that's a
traffic
sight line,
lights,
this is-
sight line. Like
yeah.
just like
It's kinda
like,
cool.
It is kind of cool to think
Yeah.
about. Like that's
That's
probably what,
like to have your job. Like your job is like, yeah. So this person's coming. Like, find out where a sniper would
Yeah.
be. Where would you be if you were a sniper?
Yeah.
You know, and they
or
have to
where,
go.
where are the inns, what's their exits,
Yeah.
what's, if something goes down,
Yeah.
if there's a like God forbid there's
and that's and I
a
have to.
bombing or something.
Well, and
right?
and that's the thing. Like, it's like, I think people don't give the like security agencies enough credit.
no.
You know, like the police, and talk about USA just because I know Edmonton, Canada, CSIS, RCMP, local police. It's a 24. Like, could you imagine? Like, let's just like, I mean, this is hypothetical,
Yeah,
but it's like
this is
but
clarifying.
really, but it's like, how often in your life had you gone to an event and you're just like, I could have a bomb on me, easy. Like, and if you want to take out the Pope, it's like, where are we going to take him out? In the middle of fucking nowhere
Yeah.
in Leduc.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to cover? You know what I mean? It's like, you think about that. It's like, I could literally just have a truck. Like, I could have a pickup
Yeah.
and a hunting rifle, and you could just Like it's just fields everywhere.
Or if you're kamikazing it.
Or if you don't care, well, that makes it even more easy, right? But it's just like,
but then like, how do you stop that? Like that's.
But they do. That's what I'm saying. It's like they literally, because they're not stopping it. Like that's the thing is like layers. Like they're not just stopping the like, okay, we have to make it so that if a crazy lunatic in a truck just wants to like barrel, like do 200 and just barrel, like cross the highway, barrel into the motorcade.
Yeah,
we have to stop that. We have to stop. But it's like you also have to stop the like planning of that.
Right.
They're weeks.
Yeah.
You know, like in Europe, when somebody, like in Europe, you can pick up a rocket launcher and you can walk to France. Yeah. Like that's why there's so many.
Here is a little more difficult than other countries. Yeah. Like if he's busy in the States, like anybody can get anything wherever they want, whenever they want.
But like the States, like U.S., Canada, the most longest unguarded border.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, yeah, I can go buy a machine gun in the States and I can walk. Like I can just walk across, hop into a truck.
Isn't there a wall?
Yeah, no, the walls, they put the walls in the wrong place. Yeah. But you know what I mean? And it's like, so it's just like, there's nothing. There's no, so the only way to keep, because if you're a Islamic extremist, right? Why wouldn't you want to kill the Pope?
Yeah.
Like you'd be and you think about 75,000 people. So if it's a terrorist attack, well, obviously let's kill as many people as possible. Let's do it at Commonwealth Stadium. It's like, so they have to be they have to stop that shit months ago. Like they have to stop the people thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
So that's like the amount of effort that takes to,
social media, like
combing through posts, combing through emails, combing through like, radio chatter, combing
podcasts,
through podcasts, these internet chat rooms, like all these things. It's like, it takes an army nonstop obsessing to just keep it. So when somebody says like, "Oh, there was a terrorist attack in Paris," it's like, I'm surprised there wasn't how could, obviously there was. Like, how could there not be?
That's a crazy thought because for the amount that does happen, you would think that it could be way.
It'd be way worse. More. Yeah.
And
like it really.
So people are and like you're right, like security agencies and counter-terrorist organizations and stuff like that. Like I don't think they get.
No,
they don't get any of the credit because they're stopping it before it happens. So there's nothing to give them credit for.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Like it's like if we're doing our jobs, people don't think we exist, and it's just like so when they're saying like, they're reading your emails or they're listening. Of course they're listening on your phone. Of course they are.
Yeah.
How could they not like?
Yeah.
How could you not?
And 99.9% of the time, it's to protect you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like,
so, and people are perfectly fine. It's like, I don't care because I'm so obsessed with posting my next TikTok or my next reel. It's like, I don't care that China can like digitally recreate my face.
Right.
And my voice.
Yeah.
It's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, hang on. The Canadian government can listen in on my phone? Obviously they are. Like...
they have to.
They have to.
It's because half of you are not half of you. There's 10
half of you are terrorists.
10 of you are crazy.
Yeah, there's 10. Yeah, exactly. There's like 10. But that's the weird thing. It's like when you think about or how many monuments you've been to, like how much sightseeing. Like if you go to the States and you just like walk around and you can go to you can walk up to the White House. You can walk. It's like there's shit there that you can't even. Imagine watching things,
So you put your bag down to take a picture, and next thing you know, someone in sunglasses and a suit
like
standing
next to you, pretending to take another
picture.
But it is. It's great. So I mean, so for Edmonton, like have to switch into that gear where it's like, you have to have somebody.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody. I was at a restaurant and Jason Kenney was eating there.
Okay.
And it was kind of cool because there was 3 black GMCs or Chevys, Suburbans parked, in the parking lot. And I noticed that they were fleet tags, right? They were just a black label and they've got the antenna and the like little thing and the push bar and the blacked out wheels and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, so like we pull in and then I'm like, there must be just, the RCMP must be having like, maybe they're having a coffee in there or whatever. Yeah. And then you walk in and then there's a guy pretending to be eating at the first table. Like as soon as you walk in the door to the left, there's a little table top. And there's this guy that just looks so obvious. It's like pathetic. You're just like, what do you do? Like, really? And he's just like has.
But that might be intentional. Sometimes being obvious is the best way, because then it's it's like having like a security guard at a at a grocery store,
and
you're
present,
like, man, that
to be
person
visible.
couldn't stop like a kitten,
but just as security,
and it's enough to be a deterrent.
Yeah, and it's just like you and you
Presence.
and you have that, like, he's got a water, and like he's pretending to eat a salad or whatever, He's just like
staring you down,
staring us down. Yeah, literally, he was like this.
Yeah.
Like looking up, staring, and I'm like, okay, what the hell? And then I look, and then 2 tables more, there's another 2 guys. I'm like, and then I see Jason Kenney in the back corner.
Yeah,
but I'm like, oh, okay, that made sense. So it's kind of funny.
The roles of those people is very interesting. We did an event at Rogers with Cates and the president of the NHL. I was trying to think of his name now.
Oh my god!
I just
something
saw him.
Emmerman.
Oh, I can't think of his name now. Yeah. I just saw him at that Bateman.
Yeah,
Bateman.
Gary Bateman.
Gary Bateman. Yeah,
Gary Bateman.
And we're just shooting cameras and stuff like that. And I can't say shooting. We were using cameras,
filming cameras,
and just like watching his bodyguards around him and stuff like that, and how they're positioned. And I mean, it's pretty high class people that are in there, and it's not like it's like a public place because it was like closed off and whatnot. But just the fact that they were there and that they're very like. They're pretty serious dudes. They're not cracking smiles and everything like that and whatnot. So, like stuff like that. We were talking about. I was researching about Putin's security detail and just how he has somebody taste like
everything,
all of his food, sometimes twice. Like his security, like just the distance he has around him from people, like even like sitting at tables and stuff like that. Yeah. It's intentionally like they're on the other,
like even just
side.
Even the fact of like if you're like, you know what, and you're like, you like go for a gun
or going for a pen, I'm sure you're frisked before you even enter the room.
But it's just that like you said that, and Hitler did that a lot too.
Yeah,
made him really tough to kill.
Yeah.
Hitler, and it's a very common practice to be very, very. They'll change plans.
Oh yeah,
constantly on the dime, constantly. So it's impossible to like say, okay.
Yeah.
Hitler would come up to the plane and he would just be like, no.
Yeah.
He literally like get up to the plane. Like they were going to put him on the plane.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm good. Let's wait a couple hours. Let's take that plane instead of this plane.
Yeah.
Just shit like that. And so you're always,
So like back to the Pope, like I want, I was just kind of curious. It'd be neat to be an insider that knew like, how many plans there were and like what direction and go here, there, whatever.
And it's different. Like when you think about, the grand scheme of things, like you think about our mayor, or like our stupid mayor, and our premiers and whoever. It's just like you're almost. This is going to sound bad, but it's like your percentage of murderers, like the people who want you assassinated, is like tiny in the grand scheme of things. You're local government, like it's like you're not a target. Like you're not in the public enough. You don't have enough of. You haven't done enough.
You don't have enough pull.
You don't have enough pull. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, but then you look at like
it would just be a tragedy. But,
but you're not changing like somebody who like wants to like. No one's overthrowing the Alberta government.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to happen, right? It's just like, they're like, whatever. The Albertans will vote the guy out on their own.
Well, and like I don't feel like anybody here has done anything terrible enough where it warrants
because we're so
maybe getting a pie in the face. Remember back in the day, that was the biggest threat in Canada was getting a pie in the face. Who was that? Mulroney? No,
Christian.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and didn't somebody take a shoe in the head too? Somebody threw a shoe at somebody at one time.
Oh, that was Trump got a shoe thrown at him.
Oh, is it? Oh, and he like dodged it.
Yeah, when he's like, oh, it's just like.
I watched that video. That was pretty impressive. Like for his
he's spry.
He's spry. Like,
he's spry. He's spry. He even had, remember, he was going down the ice. He was doing that one at a military base, and a sleet had been falling, so the ramp was like pure ice.
Oh yeah.
So he like.
Oh, I think I heard about that. I haven't
he had
seen
to like
that
kind of shuffle down.
Yeah,
it's like that fucking Biden would have been broke his neck. He would have been. Like they just would have tumbled down.
Biden would have been going down on his neck.
Down, just like sideways. But we don't. But when you think, so we don't have, like, it's like you think it's like the Seinfeld episodes, like you think you're bombable? Please. It's just like, but the Pope, it is such a different
Well, because
thing.
now it's world stage.
It's
Like
world
it's
stage.
a world.
It's
yeah.
you have a billion other people who wouldn't mind seeing you dead. You have people you've pissed off here. You've had people who like equate the position and the man as the same thing. Yeah.
I don't have a real. I haven't had my finger on the pulse. I'm curious on like what the feeling of reception is for him here.
Well, personally, I think it's overwhelmingly positive.
Okay.
Yeah, like on the ground, the ground. Like, I mean, you don't fill up 75,000 people in a stadium.
Yeah.
Unless,
yeah, and I kind of figured that.
Because people are lazy.
That. Yeah.
Human beings are lazy. So,
but is he? He's coming like actually to apologize, right?
It's a tour.
It's
a tour of some kind. But I think he's doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I think
I read an article where it's like, you know, where he's here to talk to oppose the evil that happened and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how like people like are interpreting it and because I just don't have my finger on the pulse enough to know and I'm just not out in the public enough to know.
Well, the thing you have to remember too, it's like he's still the head, like he still speaks for God.
Yeah.
For the Christ, you know, for the Catholic faith. Like
yeah.
So there's that, and that's built in. That's not, you know, you can't wrap your mind around it because if you don't live it, but if you live it, that's a big deal.
When's the last time he came?
I don't think he's ever. Like
so
in Alberta.
Like this is a
Edmonton.
Historic moment.
I believe
like,
you'd have to check it, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in Edmonton he's never been.
And he's only coming here, right? Or is he going to Toronto and stuff?
I thought he was going to Toronto.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
I vaguely glanced at his.
But it's a big deal. Like
is-
in a lot of ways, it's a big deal, and people. But I think on social media it's the other way for sure.
On social media.
Oh yeah, it's the negativity, right?
People are pretty open when it comes to social media. The internet tough guys, right?
Yeah, but a 72-year-old Christian woman, who goes to church every Sunday, she's not going to be on social media,
right?
So it's a different, he's talking to a different crowd, really, altogether.
Yeah. And it was so crazy to see people trying to get the tickets and sell them for like $200 and stuff like that. Like
just scalping.
Just like, what?
You're scalping tickets.
And it's like the tickets are free. You just have to like
you have to go and get them.
And then like I was reading on one article. I think it was on like the tour page, and it was just saying like don't buy the tickets.
Yeah,
more tickets are being released.
Yeah.
So like CTV News Pope Tour of Canada this summer, reactions are mixed.
Yeah. But it's mixed what they can it's mixed what they can measure.
Yeah, that's
so
true
it's mixed of a mix. Like it's sort of like
Alberta, Quebec, and Nunavut.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He's gonna go up to Nunavut, just be like, look around, and be like, yeah, we really fucked this place up, didn't we?
All 10 of you. Yeah. Actually, I don't know what the actual population of Nunavut is. Yeah. So just saying, like, people said, when it's all said and done, it's the action items that are more crucial for the healing journey. Yeah, I feel like it would be really mixed. I mean, 75,000 people hope to, yeah.
So if you have 75,000 people, it's actually like 250,000 who would have gone.
Right. Yeah.
And
I mean, he's still going down to like, there's another church that he's going to here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just, I don't know, it's so crazy. Like just that many people, but I guess it's not, because I mean, there's other religions, there's other just groups that just have insane amounts of people.
Yeah, like it's still the number one. Like, I mean, it's Islam and Christianity.
Really? Yeah,
like, I mean, that's
still?
the two. They're still the two.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you're talking billions of people.
Yeah.
That
would be the other thing, would be monitoring flights.
Yeah.
Coming from other places.
Of course.
Even if it's just across
the
country.
Yeah.
And then like you'll have your known list of people that are on there, and then then you got to go through the affiliates list, and like, it's intense. Like there's so many avenues to cover. What else? Fiasco with Rogers. we were podcasting and you're like, how come I'm not getting anything, blah, blah. And then I tried calling you. We were on a drive to take Catan to her next camp.
Yeah.
We're on a drive and we heard that Rogers was down. So then we tried to call you. It went straight to this service provider, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I couldn't do anything.
That's what
and then a bunch of the businesses couldn't even take payments, right? Like,
man, it was insane. That's actually how we found out. We went to go get fuel and the debit machine was down. And I didn't know Rogers was like that ingrained in that as well.
And we can talk about that. This is the nonsense. This is the like hypocrisy of the way the Canadian government runs.
Yeah.
And it's not just, this particular one in power now is really bad, but it's been a problem
from day one
where you can't, it's like at the end of the day, if you're a capitalist country, like if you
can't have a monopoly.
You can't have a like that's exactly
what?
It. Like
that's the definition.
The idea that like that's what's fucked. It's like the idea that somehow it's okay. Well, no, because we need to protect Canadian companies. It's like if they're doing a good job, yeah.
And that's all. That's with so many things.
It's like in the Ukraine, you're dodging Russian tanks, and they're paying $20 a month.
Yeah.
For service. Like it's just like what the, like how does a Nigerian warlord have a better deal on his data plan than me? Like that's what's and it's all because if T-Mobile or Vodafone or any of those companies want to come in, they get screwed.
Yeah.
The Canadian government won't let them. And then you got, Rogers, Bell, TELUS. Like, oh, well, no, there's competition. Yeah, okay.
But they all work off. They all work
with each other, right?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I know, like even like Wind, Kudo,
all those three.
They're all underneath.
It's not
them.
Actually competition.
Yeah.
Well, I'm leaving Rogers to go to Fido. Well, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
because you just left Rogers to go to Rogers.
That's like we got our daughter a new bike at Sports Check.
Yeah,
I'm like, smoking deal, blah blah. Walk in, blah blah, and they're like, all right, do you have Canadian Tire money?
Yeah,
Canadian Tire money. What the hell for? Well, Canadian Tire owns us.
Yeah,
what? Yeah, and amongst like 30 other companies. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Canadian Tire owns Sports Check. It's like the whole Best Buy Future Shop thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, like Best Buy's like, well, screw you guys. I'll just go to Future Shop. I'm like, have at it.
Yeah.
Money's all going in the same pot.
Yeah. But it is. But it's like, at least like Best Buy Future Shop, at least it's like, depending on who you're talking to, the deal might, if I'm a little bit hard on you and you're having to, you're feeling generous, or it's the end of the day, or you're one sale away from meeting your bonus, like, fuck it, I'll drop my pants on this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares?
But that's the same thing with TELUS.
No, but it's not, because in the end of the day, I'm talking in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, okay, grand.
Like, we're paying double.
Yeah.
And we have been since for the,
Yeah.
Like how can it be $200 a month?
Yeah. No, fair enough.
And then same with your cable, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, we'll bundle it all together and take $6 off. Like,
take your $6 and shove
well,
it.
It should be. We should be. And then in Europe and in Japan, and you have people. They even run multiple SIM cards.
Yeah.
They even buy phones with 2 SIM card slots, because you're like, this company gives me a good data plan, and this company gives me a good voice plan, or this company is free after 6, and this and they can actually. That's how much choice they have.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's amazing. Like, that's what should, and then so when people say like, oh, well, the socialists say like, well, capitalism is not working. It's like, no, it is working, but the government's making
it worse
by like inventing shit.
Well, it's like fighting yourself. You're pulling against yourself, right?
Yeah. It's just like, so yeah, I mean, so when the rod, and then then we're going to make the CEO of Rogers come to Ottawa and sit down, and we're going to like talk to him, and there's going to be a committee about what? You guys won't let any other companies in.
Yeah.
Like,
just slap him on the wrist. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that like they even said, not funny, I guess it was weird that they said, oh, well, it was maintenance. It's like, because a lot of people were like, oh, did they get hacked?
Yeah. Could have been
Russian hack or whatever, right?
Russian cyber attack.
And they're like, oh no, it was maintenance. Like, normally you give us a heads up if we were going to have an outage of that magnitude.
Or you say,
I don't think it was me.
Or you say, Canada's tough on Russia. Half of Canada loses its cell phone service for a day. Canada sends turbine to Russia. Not saying, just saying, you know, you know. But it's like, it's like now that pipeline, that gas pipeline to Europe from Russia, they're making $1 billion a day. So they can basically fund the war
just off of that,
basically indefinitely. Yeah. Kind of messed up. And then, you know, Germany's like, well, we're working on it. 4 years. 4 years will be into by burning a lot of, you know, it's shit like that
just makes you shake.
It makes you shake your head. Yeah. You know, it's very, you know, it's just.
But it's like, what do you do? Like, can anybody, like, it just feels like nothing can be, like, I feel like if there's like a major atrocity happening in the world, I don't really feel confident anybody can do anything about it. Like I really do feel like we're always on the, like, we're just on the teeter-totter edge of like utter chaos to, well, in a way, bliss. Like, well, I mean, like, yeah,
in a way that is, you know, that is what it's sort of like, but you know, that idea that you can't say, you know, it's just double speak. Like, you know, they'll say, you know, it was fun. Like, it was a funny, I think it was from Babylon Bee, which is hilarious because so often they're basically 3 months later, that's the real headline, right? But anyway, but you know, and when the Ukrainian thing it said, people who wanted you locked in your house to avoid the sniffles would like you to go fight the Russians. And it's like that, you know, that like, it's like, so what is it? Like, are you care about, like, how can you be tough on you know, let's be tough on Russia, but what does that mean? Being tough on Russia.
That's like the G7, the G20. It's like, you know, the G7, they're all sitting at that table. They're making jokes about Putin being shirtless and, we're going to show our pecs and blah, 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 blah. It's like, so out of all the conversations where you weren't trying to be a stand-up comedian, what did you actually come to a conclusion on that? What are your action items? Like, it's like, you never like hear action items where it's like, we're going to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Awesome. For what? We're going to discuss what we're going to do. Yeah. Okay, awesome. When you left that meeting, did you leave with a plan? Yeah. Like, is there an action? I'm like, okay, on this date, we're going to have this done. And on this date, we're going to have that done. And then by then, that's going to put the pressure. Or you just never hear that stuff.
It's like the sanctions on Russia. It's like, we're sanctioning Russia. Okay, what does that actually mean? Because they're still selling their number one export.
Right.
From the day they invaded Ukraine to now, they've been selling their number one export.
Yeah, you think cutting McDonald's hurt them?
Yeah, you know, or it's like, oh, they're not gonna be able to sell vodka. Fuck those guys.
It hurt McDonald's. Yeah, it hurt them.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's just, and all these kind of like virtue signaling businesses were like, wow, we're pulling out of Russia. It's like, okay, but Russia, like, do you think they care that their vodka's not getting exported, or that they're like,
who needs Russia more? You, or who needs who more?
Right, and it's because they've slowly maneuvered themselves over the years that you need Russia more than they need you. So how you can't say there's sanctions if you're buying their stuff still. Like, it's so weird.
And it's messed up because it makes you start to question, like, you know, we're trying to work together as a world, but then when somebody goes off the rails, if you're that intertwined, the turbine being a prime example, where by not giving them the turbine, you're hurting your ally, Germany.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like they're perfectly okay with us paying $4 a liter for gas,
right?
And blaming it on Putin. It's like, so what are we doing here? Yeah, like, it's like, it's a very, they can just kind of like keep saying, you know, they basically just say whatever is convenient at that minute, but what they actually have planned, they have no plan.
Yeah, it's whatever appeases the masses, like. But I don't know, like, I mean, what would it take for the masses to revolt? What would it take for the masses to be like, you know what?
But that's the problem. It's like,
you know, we're changing the
and that's
script.
That's a standard U.S. tactic or Western tactic where they're like, well, we're just going to make life so miserable in Russia that they're going to just overthrow Putin. It's like, but you don't it's like
that's a double-edged sword, man.
Yeah, but and also
you make enemies. I mean, it could turn the other way, and you don't know what kind of propaganda is happening within
Right,
that
you
country.
have no
We
idea.
don't know what's
Right.
going on communications-wise
Right.
inside. I mean, for all we know, Russians could just think that we attacked, right?
And there were I mean,
how do you know? Like,
and the fact is, and this goes back to like, you know, how dictators a lot of times or populists can stay in power. It's because, you know what? Like at the end of the day, if the average person in Russia, like if they're doing okay, what's there to really you know what I mean? Like if they're comfortable, like in the sense of like, well, I go to work, I get paid, I have a place, guys in shirts aren't busting down the door there's not tanks in the street. You know, you look at those pictures in Moscow, it's like you see Mercedes, BMW, it's like they're developed,
pretty
like
chill.
It's pretty chill. So it's like, so it's not the same as it was in the Cold War when people could look over the wall and be like, oh, look at all that shit they have and we're starving.
We're starving, yeah.
It's not like that. So what do you have left to like bargain with, right?
It's wild. Any country you go to, I'm always surprised. Like all the traveling I've done, I can't wait to get back to traveling. But you go to a country and you're expecting it to be one way, and you're like, well, these guys are like just like us.
Yeah, because that's
they're driving cars and they have a nightclub and there's a restaurant that makes steaks and they're 90%.
It is because
there's like this 10% difference maybe on language or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's even like going to Italy. Like you go to Italy and it's just like this is nice. Like everything is like everyone's driving
Western.
cars. Like they have a house. They go to work. They come home. They go on vacation like us. Like,
well, and that's why. So Africa is the number one fastest growing economy, right? Yeah. And the amount, and that's the thing. Like people are so stupid and naive.
Yeah.
When they say, like, you think Western civilization screwed everything up? Really? Because literally there's like hundreds of thousands of people every year that become middle class.
Yeah.
Like they're coming.
Well, because they see that and they strive for it.
They strive for it, and they also you give them the tools.
Not saying it's all perfect, but
no, it's not.
But argue that a good 70-80% of it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. So it's like that idea that like, you know, and the India and these countries where it's just by the millions, people are like living like us, like every day. It's renting apartments or buying apartments and buying cars and, you know, I mean, all these things. And it's like, you want to, what? Like, what are we going to do? What, you want to turn it off? Like, it's just, you know, they said, what is it, 2030, 2035, something like that. It's like, there will be basically what the UN defines as poverty, where it's like $1, I think it's $1 US a day.
Okay.
There will be nobody left like that. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, that would be amazing.
I mean, I feel like it has to go that way.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, like, even here, like, the cost of things to, like, inflation to what people make, you know, $1 a day would never make it. Like, if you're going to do inflation in China and you're paying someone $1 a day, well, they can't even get a bed to sleep in so that they can go to work the next day for the $1 a day.
Yeah.
It would have to go up. Like, everything's just
but the inflation is
have
just
to go up.
You know, the inflation is too much money, not enough product, right? Like that's what creates inflation, right? Too much money, not enough goods. So inevitably it happens everywhere, but in those developing countries, it's good. Like that means that, you know, like that's what inflation is. It's like if all of a sudden, if 200 people that didn't have a job before now are working somewhere, even for a menial amount, they can all of a sudden buy stuff. Yeah. Where they couldn't before. Yeah. So it's like that, you know, and so that's interesting where this feeling that like, no, everybody, like, yeah, okay, the like US and Canadian middle and the European middle class is getting wiped out because of like stupidity, but the system is designed that shouldn't have that you're actually creating more middle class people every year, every quarter, because just people get up. Well, and that's what makes the world turn. Yeah. And then those people who do get up in the morning, they need something to do. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, and it has to be productive for everybody. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, so it's so the idea that, you know, that's really naive and it's really self-centered to say like, oh, we're just going to make it hard on the Russians. Eventually, they're just going to kill Putin, or they're just going to get rid of him. It's like, that's not. What are we in week 21 of Russian? You know what I mean? It's just like,
it just doesn't seem like anybody can really do much.
Yeah.
What else? UK. Holy crap. They've been going through some crazy heat, eh? Like, they're not used to it.
No.
That's pretty wild.
No.
People were like renting cheap hotels because the hotels had AC.
Yeah. they're
getting out of their houses. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like we might be on the verge of that again. Like, even though it's only been like 26, well, we had like 33, 35 the other day.
Yeah.
But even today, like just driving around at 26, I'm like, geez, it's freaking hot. Like it does. It feels hotter than 26.
Yeah, but that's because you feel hotter than 26.
Yeah,
it's climate.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just
Okay, Marvel. What's going on in Marvel? We got She-Hulk's coming out August.
Yeah,
August. Miss Marvel just wrapped up.
Still haven't seen Thor.
Still haven't seen Thor.
No, I haven't seen Thor. You did.
I did.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything. Because you know what? It's got like crazy good reviews. People are loving it. It's like box office hits.
No, I thought it got mixed reviews.
I was thinking mixed reviews. I'm going off somebody else's telling me.
Ryan, pull up the Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah, of Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, 68%, man.
Oh shit! Oh, it's lower than I thought. How is it doing in the box office though?
I don't know.
250 million.
Not good.
Maybe not good. Box. Oh, what was it? Audience score? 79. That's pretty good.
Marvel though, usually it's like
I know.
80,
I mean,
90.
we're talking Marvel for sure. Box office so far 498.5 million. It ain't gonna be a billion.
No, it's not gonna be a billion.
Budget was 250. I mean, they overed their budget at least, but still, that's not that great.
No.
Love and Thunder stays on top despite big drop 21 hours ago from the weekend box
Yeah,
office.
like it lost 60-something% of its
68% its second weekend.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't impressed. No, I wasn't impressed at all. It was it's just like there's no stakes anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone goes into the afterlife, but they're still alive in the afterlife. We can time travel.
There's a version of them somewhere.
There's
like another megaverse. Yeah.
So really, at the end of the day, it's like, what are
we watching? Like,
what's the consequences? Why am I fearful for that character? Yeah. Why am I worried that they're going to die? Why I'm not? Because you've just told me there's a gajillion of them everywhere else, and they can just move from universe to universe. And they went too big too fast. They should have dialed it back, stayed on Earth, made the problems could destroy humanity. You know, it could be universal problems that come in and could destroy humanity, and they have to fight it. That would be cool. But there's just no unless they have like this epic. I'm talking like epic,
like a Hail Mary,
curveball.
But I don't see it like
that throws me in a different direction.
Yeah, like in a weird way, like they,
there's just so much they're trying to juggle right now.
Yeah, like I don't understand how they can be doing so much and accomplishing so little.
It really feels that way. And like the last couple of, I follow this guy, Emergency Awesome. I really like him. He's got some great stuff. And even just in like his last couple of videos of some of his explanations, I feel like he didn't have like the pep excitement that he normally has about, whoa, did you see that? Whoa, this and whoa, that. He was kind of like, all right, so like, Marvel's juggling a lot right now.
Let's give him a minute.
Yeah, your enthusiasm is significantly dropped
even
off.
the shills, like even the paid for sort of access guys are even just kind of like, hey, let's just like get through this. And, like maybe I'll be excited for the next thing.
Yeah,
And then the other side, the fandom menace is full on revolt. They call it was actually pretty funny. They've been calling it the MCU Phase Bore. So it's like it's just nothing but female characters and boring. It's kind of funny.
Oh man,
MCU Phase Bore.
I have just the early looks at I really hope with She-Hulk. I really hope that they got really bad reviews from like the early stuff, and they're gonna go back and redo it. They did that with Sonic.
Yeah.
When they first released Sonic,
They did.
people were
They
like,
listened to him.
what
Yeah.
the fuck
Yeah,
is that?
they made him animation
So then they
style.
went back and they redid everything,
Yeah.
which you can do with an animated character. And I think for the most part, theoretically, I'm hoping you can do that with She-Hulk.
But did you hear what was happening with the animation studios?
No.
So there was an ex employee from one of the FX studios
Okay.
was like, Disney's the worst company to work for, period. He's like, it's a sweatshop. He's like our renderers and our like graphic like our artists and our animators. It's like you work until you're like, you can't even like move your hands anymore, because they're like, they keep asking for more and they keep cutting the budgets.
Yeah.
So they're like, and then even like Thor: Love and Thunder, like it was all CGI. There was nothing practical done.
Yeah.
So you're starting to like over leverage the digital stuff, right? Even like Robert Downey Jr. was talking when he was on the Rogan podcast like 2 years ago.
I remember that.
He was talking like, he's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to put on the suit.
Yeah. The first movie, he's like in this suit.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
he's full
Second
on. They
movie, he
built
only
it
had
to,
to
like-
have parts of it on. Third movie, he's just like, I'm just going to show up and away we go.
Yeah. And then like, and then
Put
by,
on the tights with the little markers
yeah.
on it.
And then by Infinity War, he was like, they were like, can we do that take again? And he was like, oh, can you just move my arm
Yeah.
in post? And they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. It's like,
man.
so how would that be piling up? Like, well, even in our industry, like, I mean, in our jobs, it's like when that starts to happen, when you're like, but they start to ask for more and complain about how much they're paying, it creates a bad situation, right?
That's been kind of going on in the video game industry forever.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a
The video
sweatshop.
game industry is the
I knew a
worst
few-
from what
I
I've
knew
heard.
a few of the guys from BioWare, and they were like, it was the worst.
And like everywhere, I think it's just like it's just brutal, and it's crazy because like the amount of like the creativity that those guys put out, and the dollars that they turn is crazy.
Yeah.
It is insane how much money they turn.
But that's the funny thing. It's like you would think
they get paid.
you get paid, yeah. Like I mean, but it's only the guys at the top getting paid.
Yeah,
because it's the same.
Capitalism.
Well, it's just, but it is in a way like it's and again we go back. It's not, it's not like a perfect. It's not a perfect system, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is designed in a way where it wins out in the end. Where like what's happening with Marvel is that, but at the same time, they can't sustain it.
Yeah.
Because they're losing money.
Yeah.
Because the market has decided that movie's no good. You're not making $1 billion. When you're like, oh, we're making $1 billion a movie, who gives a shit? Now it's like, we're not making $1 billion a movie. Now we're making like, I think, was it Shang-Chi? No, Eternals. No, which one was actually the first one released in the theater of the new stuff? Was it I think it was Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I don't even think Eternals went to theater.
But it none of those made $1 billion. None of those ones, those 4 or 5 that they did. So it costs them. Like doing things a certain way costs them money.
But I mean, that's what I don't get is it's like, okay, so like Thor, like, okay, 498 million.
Yeah. Say it ends at 575 or whatever.
And 280 to make.
But it's not 280 to make. That's just that's the published budget. So that's literally the line items of
it's not marketing.
It's not marketing. It's not payoffs. Like it's not, all that stuff, right? Like so they need to make a lot.
So like the tipping point has just gotten like, well, it's so like everything is so high now. Like you have to make it here. You got to make it there. You have to make it there now, and that bar keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
When does it just be like, well, we just can't do it?
Well, I think Hollywood has a problem where somewhere along the way, the people who love it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like the stakes are so high that nobody's willing to give up control, give up the reins, right? Yeah. So you have meddling. You have, that's what killed the Warner, like that's what killed the DC movies, right? It's just, there's too many people. If I'm VP of marketing, I'm making $3 million a year. Like I have to put my 2 cents in.
Yeah.
I can't just let the filmmaker. So, and then now it's like, it's funny because now it's even more obvious because like Maverick comes out. It's just Tom Cruise being a lunatic with his, and just basically telling the studio, if we don't make it exactly how I want to make it, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. I'm not even going to bother. Because when they announced Maverick or Top Gun 2, I knew exactly and it's weird because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be some CGI bullshit. And there's going to be like 9 different diverse cast members. And they're going to make fun of, they're going to want Tom Cruise to be a clown and like, be washed up, not be able to do anything. They're going to have to teach him how to, and there's going to be drones now. Like I just had it in my head. I'm like, that's what a shitty sequel would be.
Yeah.
And it was like exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, but now when they reboot things, that's exactly what it's going to be. Like I'm like, it's going to be some CGI bullshit. It's going to be some crappy writing, some shit that doesn't make any sense. They're just going to throw it together and they're just going to hope that the name
sticks. Makes it go.
So now, because you have that really topsy-turvy, now you'll have those, billion-dollar movies that are made properly, and you're going to have the crap. And the longer it goes, the more they're going to start to see how it's like Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
It's like why, the Rings of Power, it's going to be garbage.
Well,
it's going to fail miserably. Guaranteed.
Have you seen the previews?
Guaranteed it's going to fail.
Have you seen the previews?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what is it? Like,
it's like, it's lost its grit. It's like really like bright. It's really like,
because they're standing in front of, they're not, he's like, do you think they all got on a plane and went to New Zealand and went to those places? No. They're just like, oh, fuck it. CGI. Yeah. So it's just like, yeah.
And I guess,
so
somehow it's
so
cheaper.
How much money do you have to lose?
I just pulling up a movie that I just saw a preview for the other day, and I really want to see it. It is with BJ Novak. It's a movie that's coming out. Vengeance. It looks really good. BJ Novak from The Office. He was Ryan from The Office. Okay. Yeah. It's called Vengeance. He's a podcaster, and he was dating a girl, and the girl dies. But he wasn't really like dating her. Like they like went on a date, but apparently she talked up like crazy to her family and friends back home in Texas. And so they all think like these two were like crazy tight. So he gets invited to the funeral. And so he flies up for the funeral and everyone's like, man, we've heard so much about you. And he's like, all right, like, I barely knew her, but whatever. And then they're like, we think she got murdered. And he's got this podcast. So then he's like, well, I'm going to go with this story. And he just starts recording everybody, and to the point where it's like, oh shit, like I think she did get murdered. And it looks
a comedy.
Awesome. It's like, okay. Yeah, it's a comedy. Like it looks like a comedy.
Oh, man.
It's got a killer cast. Like the cast is awesome. I'm actually pretty excited, but this is one of those movies where like I'm interested in it for the story. Like the story looks awesome. It's kind of like Building Only Contains Murders. I think that's what it is.
Only Murders in the Building.
Only Murders in the Building. It is really good.
Yeah.
The story is really good. It's the acting is decent. Like it's the acting you expect from those two.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
Like I can get into it and like it doesn't
so then you
need
watch
CGI.
But that's just it. Like you watch that and then you watch Resident Evil. Right. Like the new Resident Evil. And you're like, this thing's a piece of crap. Like it's actually like, especially the streaming movie, like on the streaming services.
Yeah.
There's some, like, I always felt like if I was on NBC primetime, like if it was 7:00 on a Thursday night in the old days, right? And I had the remote and I just like flicked through. There would be like ER or there'd be some of these shows and it's like, yeah, maybe I don't like it, but it's well made. Yeah. I can watch it. Yeah. I could watch it.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these shows now, and it is like you almost think to yourself, it's like you shot it, like you have all your cameras, you shoot it, you shoot a scene, you shoot an episode. It was like Halo was the same.
Yeah.
You shoot an episode, you go back, it gets run through post, you sit down, you screen it, and everyone looks at each other like, yep, that's what we were trying to do. It's just like, this is exactly how it's supposed to be.
You think somebody would be like, well, we fucked that up.
Yeah. Like
and then everyone's like, what are you talking about? It's like, Really?
Yeah. Or when you have
how come
nobody.
why am I the only one?
Yeah, like nobody says like, okay, this is the script, right? And no one says, wait a second, but that doesn't make any sense. And then there's like 9 plot holes in 32 minutes.
Like you have a team of writers.
Yeah, like and it's like it's almost unbelievable. Like it is.
Yeah.
The box office bombs are one thing because it's one project, start to finish with one cast, one director.
Yeah.
And it goes off the rails. Like I get that. And then it gets butchered in the editing room. And it's like there's so many ways it can go bad. But a television show, day after day, episode after episode, it's weird.
Pernita pulled up a movie the other day. I was like, I hated it. Like I hated it because it was uncomfortable. But that's what made the movie so good. Jake Gyllenhaal, The Guilty. Have you seen that?
That's with...
So it's just Jake Gyllenhaal. Just him. The whole movie. He's in a call center.
Oh, yeah.
A 911 call center.
Yeah, we watched that one. Yeah. So it's not just him. There's other...
Well, but I mean, he's 95, 97% of the screen time.
That was a good movie.
But just him, his emotion, I was like, damn, like I hate how uncomfortable the movie made me. Like it made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't stand watching this
when
shit.
He's trying to call her,
like his panic, the way he acted in that movie was
killer.
Killer.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Killer. And I didn't know it was a remake of I think it was a Dutch movie or something like that was done in like 2000.
Oh.
And so people were really grumpy because they were like, well, why did this movie need to be remade? Like it was fine in its original. But just, like this movie, I was like, damn, like I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I haven't seen the other one, Ryan Reynolds, where he gets buried alive. I think 90% of that one, he's like, it's just him in a box with like a cell phone that's running out of battery, a lighter that's running out of butane, and he's just trying to like figure out how the hell they get buried in this box. And like movies, like there was another one, Phone Booth. I haven't seen it, but I think it's very similar to that too. I got to watch some of these movies, but this one was like, I did not see that coming. Like I was like, whoa, that was, it's intense. And his emotion, like when he breaks down and when he decides to like turn himself in for the crime he did, and like, he knows he's not going to see his daughter for like 10 years because he's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
Whoa, heavy. That is good movie making. That's good storytelling.
But that's exactly it. Like we go back to this all the time, but the old Marvel movies that's what it was. It was, let's make a good movie and then we'll put Marvel
on top. We'll just stamp it.
Like stamp it. Not stamp it. But it's like we're playing in that box. We're using these characters, but it's like, let's make a good movie.
Yeah.
And now it's like somehow been warped and it's topsy-turvy. And now you're just like, what do you... I don't know. Like, it's just very...
Yeah. Now it's just make it as ludicrous. Well, and I mean, Waititi kind of said it. He's like, well, you basically took like what every 6-year-old's fantasy is and put it in a movie.
Yeah.
And
but
it's like,
not...
So you're making it absurd intentionally.
Yeah. But like, there was a really good... They had a good scene. They like showed 2 scenes back to back, and it was from Thor 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Thor is arguing with his dad about going to war with Jotunheim.
Yes.
And it's like, that's not the same guy.
Yeah. That's just it.
Like, that's not, and it doesn't matter.
Butchered that character.
Yeah.
I guarantee he had one of the best story arcs up until, well, really, like, even like when his brother died, when Thanos killed him in Infinity War. Like the story arc of him going through the trauma.
Yeah.
And like, being a boy.
Yeah.
Taught to be a king.
Yeah.
And like that story arc was awesome. The lessons he had to go through, the trials he had to go through. Then he goes and finds out these humans are weak, feeble, and I have to protect them. Awesome story arc. I'm not a goof.
Yeah.
Now he's just a freaking goof moron that can't tie his shoes. And you're like, this is sad.
Yeah.
Because you were, and like when he had the, like, I know it's like kind of sketchy, or like touchy, but when he had like the PTSD about his mom dying.
Yeah.
And he saw when they go back to get the ether.
That hurt. Like that.
That
brings a tear to your eye. Because like now he gets to say hi to his mom,
yeah.
and his mom knows it's not him. Like, come on, you know, and
Like
it's just
that's
so
awesome. Like, well, I mean,
Yeah.
like it's just so well done.
Yeah. And just care for the character,
And you feel for the character.
Yeah.
Had they killed Thor from sacrificing himself or something,
probably would have been
it
better
would
off.
have. Well, it would have been way better.
Yeah.
Off. It would have meant something.
But even him,
And
like,
it's the same thing with Iron Man.
Yeah.
You go back, Tony Stark, he's like this billionaire dick, kind of like,
Yeah.
what's up, bitches?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Then he goes through like, whoa, like I got a responsibility, like the earth. And then I have someone I love now. And then like, then when he goes into like, I have a wife and a kid, and I don't want to lose that.
And I have to protect the whole planet.
Yeah.
Like, before he was like, I want a suit of armor around the world.
Yeah.
So I don't have to, you know, it's like,
man.
but it is, it's
good.
like, it's good. You have those, and the man out of time, like
Yes.
Captain America, the man out of time is like the ultimate.
But that's
just universal.
That's original day raw storytelling. They took that 90% of that stuff, 80% of that stuff from the comics.
Yes.
They went with, because it was back then, they only had the story.
Right.
They didn't have all this fancy
No,
dancy. They
that's
only
right.
had the story and their best drawer.
Yeah.
And they could only tell it in so many frames. So they had to tell the story so good
Yes.
because the frames couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're missing something.
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
missing,
We're
and,
missing something.
and that's exactly it. You're missing you're missing that thread of just the journey, like this journey that these guys are on, and now they just like you know, that idea of even which screwed up like Falcon Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
You know, it's like it was just the whole thing was in service to something that wasn't their characters.
Yes.
The whole thing was in service to something that the producer or the showrunner had in their head,
Yeah.
and they didn't care what they had to do to those characters to like get there.
No.
You know, it's like, I want a scene where the police give Falcon a rough time.
Yeah.
How would that even happen? Like, it's like, so
He's a superhero that helps save the world.
like, so it's like, so he's on the
Like, I think-
Avengers,
I
you
think
dumb
he's-
bastard. It's
yeah.
like, it's just, you know, that idea that, you know, like, and it's, so by wanting that stupid scene in there, you've actually ruined all the work that everyone else has done before you.
Yeah.
Because Falcon, like, when they introduced him, it was like, man, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And that feeling of like finding himself and like saying, you know what, like, and then that idea that, yeah, when Captain goes away, like somebody else has to be Captain America. They could have made it so good. Just that scene of him and Bucky in Civil War for like 8 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
Not even 8 minutes. It was probably like 3 minutes. You just said, oh my God, if there's a series of these with these two idiots, buddy comedy, like it was almost like a cop comedy,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
But they're still badass. Like that's what I thought the series was going to be. I'm like, it is going to be those two guys cracking jokes at each other, but just going around the world, just like cutting a swath of just like destruction.
Yeah.
You know, wherever they go, shit blows up.
The best part in that whole entire series was when the Wakandans showed up and kicked the shit out of
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
When they went to pull this,
It's just like-
yeah, just, you know, but
or
even,
when she took his arm off, it was awesome.
even like agent, like US agent,
Yeah.
they screwed him up.
Yeah.
Like he's a goof, like same thing. It's like, why does he have to be a goof?
Yeah.
How do I look?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like, no, like in the comics, he's not fucking around. That's the whole point.
Yeah. He's a badass.
He's like what
a
Captain
mean
America,
dude.
what they needed Captain America to be
Yeah.
at what the US government wanted Captain America to be at that time. Right.
Right.
And and he was like, he was not screwing around. And it's
No.
like, so it's just, like they just don't. Anyway.
We got to cut her loose. Okay. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See ya.
Have a good one. Survive.